dude like that. The Chicago Blackhawks no longer on the clock. They are ready to make it official here in Nashville.
The Chicago Blackhawks would first like to recognize the incredible career of David Poile and congratulate him on his retirement. We'd also like to congratulate the Vegas Golden Knights on their Stanley Cup championship. And we'd like to say hi to all of the Blackhawks fans back in Chicago at the Salt Shed, the Blackhawks fans here tonight, and all the Blackhawks fans watching around the world. And with the first overall selection in the 2023 NHL Draft, the Chicago Blackhawks are very proud to select from the Regina Pats, the Western Hockey League, Connor Bedard.
There's Dad, who let him play hockey in the kitchen, in the living room, because you can't build a backyard rink in Vancouver where he grew up like other Canadian provinces. And of course, there's his mother, who saw a lot of things get broken in her house. Picture frames, vases, whatever it was. But the dream is now a reality. He'll make his NHL debut on ESPN October the 10th, a Tuesday opening night, part of our triple header coverage. Game 2 in Pittsburgh against Sidney Crosby and the Pittsburgh Penguins. His skill set might be a little different as a player, Brian Boucher. He's more of a shooter. He's a finisher. He's going to pump in eventually 40, 50, 60, maybe 70 goals in his career. But like Sidney Crosby, he's a guy you build a franchise around.
He is. This guy is, look, he's had all eyes on him forever. I mean, I feel like we've known about Connor Bedard for the last 5, 6, 7 years we've heard about him. And the amount of pressure that's on a kid like that in a country like Canada where hockey is everything. And for him to deliver and be at this moment in his life where he delivers as being the first overall pick, and it looks like he's just scratching the surface. That's the scary part. I mean, he's got hands, he's got vision, he's got the elusiveness, and he's got the shot. To me, the shot is what stands out. He can beat you in a lot of different ways. He's going to give a lot of nightmares to a lot of goals in the NHL for years to come.
He doesn't skate like Connor McDavid, Megan Chaika. He's 5'9"3/4. That can sometimes scare some. He's not a big, burly center iceman. Will he be a center? Will he be a winger? But what tells you about his greatness the most as you look at his numbers and break him down on film?
Well, his size isn't there, but his skill and strength is there. Very underrated in playmaking. So good on Chicago for putting Taylor Hall on possibly his line. Taylor Hall had 5 goals in the playoffs this year. He is a true finisher. Connor Bedard had more assists than goals in the WHL. So look for him to get extra assists this year if he has a finisher on his line.
Yeah, for those fantasy hockey players, Taylor Hall might be a good guy to take, because that guy will make him...
There you go. Pro tip already.
Right, because Weeksy, that's the kind of guy that'll make his teammates better, his line mates better. Or I say he'll make them rich. They'll have bigger houses because they get to play with him.
Hey, that's what Ryan Getzlaf said all those years in Anaheim. Boys, go to the net, I'll make you rich.
Yep.
He made a lot of people rich. So yes, for Connor Bedard, what I love about this here is everything everybody expected of him, he expected of himself. And more importantly, not only did he deliver, he over-delivered. That's the best part of it for me. When the games were tight, when the games were big, World Junior boost you mentioned earlier, all the great players that have played for Team Canada, history of the World Junior prestigious tournament. He's the all-time scoring leader.
Yep.
That tells you everything.
Yeah.
Gretzky, Lemieux, Lindros, Correa. How many names do we need to go down? Connor McDavid. And this guy did things that are historic.
Scouts use comparables, right? They try to see what a player was before other players, and the numbers that you talk about, I mean, it's astounding. He's going to be an awesome player.
Chicago will pick again in the first round, 19th overall. So Kyle Davidson in his scouting department will now really start to grind and see who could be there at 19. But for now, he's celebrating with Emily Kaplan.
Thanks, Bucci. Kyle, so much excitement about Connor Bedard. What are realistic expectations for his rookie season?
You know what? We'll see. We'll let him figure that out. He's a pretty special player, very special person, and we'll let him determine how special that first season is.
You know, we saw you make trades yesterday for Taylor Hall and Nick Foligno. What are other things you're going to do to ensure that he's successful in year one?
You know what? We'll continue to look at the marketplace and see what kind of veteran leadership's out there to potentially surround him with. But we feel like we've got a lot right now within the locker room, but that's something you can never have enough of, so we'll keep looking.
And I know that you guys are still in a rebuild, but when can we expect you guys in the playoffs again?
You know what? I have no clue. I wish I knew. I wish I had that crystal ball. But all we'll do is keep collecting talent, letting these players develop, put them in the best situation to develop into the best players they can be, and hopefully the best team we can be.
Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you.
Again, the Chicago Blackhawk fan base has taken over. His dad wipes the tears away from his eyes. He and his sister and mom, it's really an emotional moment for them to see their boy on the precipice of a professional hockey career. Now here is the reaction. Again, you knew it was coming since they won the draft lottery on ESPN. But when it's official, it's still a pretty cool moment because now it's for real and he'll be in their lineup. Again, Tuesday, October the 10th in Pittsburgh on ESPN against Sidney Crosby and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Austin Matthews got 40 goals his rookie season. Over under Bush. Connor Bedard, 40 goals.
Ooh. Now you're going up to 40.
I'm going to 40 now.
All right, I'm going to say under 40, but above 35.
Okay, yeah. Okay. That's why it's a good number, right? It's a tough number. What do you think, Megan? Could he get?
Let's go over. He's in Chicago. He'll get a lot of playing time. If he's surrounded by people that can feed him the puck too, his shot is incredible.
Especially on the power play. Well, he's with Emily Kaplan.
Connor, you just got drafted by an Original Six team, one that won 3 Stanley Cups in your lifetime. What was going through your mind when you put on that sweater?
Yeah, it's really hard to put into words. I mean, growing up, like you said, in an era where, they were so dominant and so good with all the players they had, and man, it's incredible looking down and seeing it on myself. So couldn't be happier and can't wait to get started.
The hockey world has so many expectations for you, but what are your expectations for your rookie season?
Just right now it's focusing on having a good rest of the summer and obviously going into camp and making the team. That's the main goal, and then if that happens, then you kind of set more goals from there, but kind of keeping it short term as of right now.
And your first game is going to be on ESPN. It's in Pittsburgh, and you're playing against Sidney Crosby. What's that going to be like for you?
Yeah, like I said, I gotta make it first, but that would be unreal. My favorite player growing up and a big idol of mine. So, I don't think if that happens, that for me personally, you could script it any better.
Thanks, Connor. Welcome to Chicago.
Thank you.
He was born in 2005. And Connor Bedard is a member of the Chicago Blackhawks' first NHL game in Pittsburgh. And then Vegas raises this cup banner against Seattle. So here's how the Blackhawks got this 19th overall selection. The big trade last year when, once again, Tampa Bay pulled an exciting trade. They give us so much entertainment on the trade front. They get Brendan Hagel. It's turned out to be an excellent acquisition by them. Got a fourth and a fourth. Give up a couple prospects. And this, number 1. So what does Kyle Davidson do here? The youngest active GM in the NHL. Connor Bedard was the easy pick. Now it gets a little more difficult. 19th overall, and again, he can really go anywhere. It's a very candid long-term project for them. This is multiple years, 3, 4, 5. So let's see what Davison does with his second first-round pick of the night. Again, he's got 4 seconds as well to play with, 2/3.
With the 19th pick in the NHL Draft, the Chicago Blackhawks are very proud to select Oliver Moore from the U.S. National Development Program.
I love this dude. I mean, this dude is electric. Everyone can skate well. This guy stands out.
Yep. This guy can fly.
Oh, my goodness, can he move.
Hands down the best skater in the draft.
Yep.
His giddy-up step, I mean, it is something else. He can create off the rush. The question is, can he create other ways? But the one thing I do know, whether he can or can't, is that speed is a problem. Speed is a problem for defenders and for the opposition, and this guy has got it in spades. Him, along with Connor Bedard, like you think about, you got a dynamic player in Bedard that can do it all, and then you got a guy in Oliver Moore who probably play on another line who's just going to back people off with his speed. The thing about Oliver Moore is that at the program, he did not play on the top line. He was the guy playing on the other line, and yet he still put up 75 points, had 9 points in the U18s. So this was not the guy that was playing with the best players at all times, and yet he still produced. But this is a guy with speed that you just don't see all the time.
He'll probably play with Logan Cooley at Minnesota this year. He's a gopher, and I'll tell you, Gopher fans, this guy's going to bring you out of your seats at Mariucci.
Oh, yeah, he definitely will bring them out there in the land of 10,000 lakes. And what he does is by attacking the opposition with that speed, He puts them under duress.
Yeah.
He's got a V12. It's not a V8 engine. It's a V12. You can hear that exhaust when he steps on it. In a blink of an eye, he can gain not only acceleration, but zones with his speed. It's that electrifying.
From our data set, too, on the cycle, he can actually move the puck into that middle of the ice and set up teammates. High involvement player, so he probably can make an impact on the cycle. But off the rush is his bread and butter with that speed. Puck retrieval and anticipation, shows that determination and tenacity, which is maybe why he got up to this point.
Yeah. Second and third efforts is the stuff that I saw in him.
That's a great point by you.
Right? And, like when I think of Dylan Larkin when I see him, because Dylan Larkin is the guy
that's the NHL comparable I have from data.
So, I like speed kills. I mean, it's tough to play against. I mean, you hope that he can catch up with the speed at the NHL level, that it can all click. If it can, you've got yourself a dangerous project.
I love you saying the second and third effort, because quite often with the speed merchants, they figure that the speed is enough to get them there, to win a battle, to be first to position, to generate an opportunity. So when you add that speed with the second and third effort,
there it is,
and being that competitive, there it is. There, it's separated, 100%. And that's why I was saying on this desk all year long, give Dylan Larkin his cream in Detroit.
He got it.
And you remember Bucci.
Yes, I do.
And I'm glad he finally got it, because he has that ability.
We saw his mom, Shauna. She's run 10 marathons, including one Boston. So incredible. She's got a lot of stamina. And Emily, Oliver's got speed.
Oliver, we keep talking about your speed. Someone at the U.S. program said you're in the same speed category as Connor McDavid. What do you make of that comparison?
Yeah, I mean, that's a stretch for sure. I think he's obviously a great player, but I think, I like to use my speed out there to my advantage, and anytime I can, it's awesome. So,
Bucci mentioned that your mom, Shauna, ran marathons. I hear you run a sub-5 mile when you were a middle schooler. How did that shape you as a hockey player?
Yeah, in middle school. I was in middle school. I remember that. So, I mean, I think it just helped me be athletic, and obviously, like I said, I like to use my speed, and I'm an athletic player. So, that's probably where it helped me, but...
Yeah, and you're coming to the Chicago Blackhawks, ushering in a new era with Connor Bedard.
Yeah.
Like, what's going through your mind even as I say that?
So excited. Like, watching him all year, it's unbelievable what he's been able to do. And to have the Blackhawks organization draft me and have the trust in me, I mean, it's an unbelievable feeling right now. I can't even describe it.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. Welcome to Chicago.
Thank you so much.
Cool kick. Like that, turning your blade up, Reader, instead of tipping a puck down, tipping it upwards. Exceptional hand-eye coordination.
Thought process in game too is something that Brinley really has, and that's a perfect example of it. Be able to reverse the stick in game at game speed.
Jason, how about Adam Gajan, our first goaltender off the board here to the Chicago Blackhawks?
Think Ben Bishop, guys, giant. This kid's 6'7". He's fluid in the crease too, so he boxes up well. He plays between his posts. No unnecessary movements. Eats pucks from long range, so his rebound control is on point. Big guys, though, when they do get moving laterally off speed, if you start getting moved out, pardon me, this is Gajan. This isn't Harable. They went to Gajan. Sorry, we didn't get the screen there. So, hey, listen. Sorry, my bad, Gajan. Slovakia at the World Juniors, super athletic goaltender. Chippewa in the North American League, Green Bay in the USHL, highly competitive. This is an athletic butterfly-style goalie.
Crazy story how he made it, though, all the way to Slovakia and ends up playing really well. He wasn't really on the radar at the start of the year, but a lone situation gets him to the USHL, of course, gets him to the World Juniors. He becomes a starter and a rock star from there. Doing the same thing.
Roman Kantserov, the next one off the board. Jason, a right winger out of Magnitogorsk, the NHL over in Russia.
Yeah, so these are the types of guys that have been hard to get, right? You're scouting these guys on video, but he had an excellent year at the MHL level, over a point per game, deployed primarily at even strength on the first power play unit as well. He's another guy who's a little smaller, so he plays his off wing. He opens up the play, Reader fronts it the whole time, so nothing's getting, he's not getting checked from the backside, but everything's in front of him.
Really see that off-wing player more in the European style, and Steve Larmer's always the guy I think of playing the off-wing, the Canadian who did that, played Chicago for years, and was dynamite in the off-wing, very much more consistent play in the European game, especially in Russia. Think of Ovechkin, same type of thing.
Absolutely.
The off-wing gets the better angle on the shot.
All right, so the Buffalo saved. Jason, how about the Hawks getting Martin Misiak, a right winger out of Youngstown of the USHL?
Yeah, so he came over after the World Junior Tournament and joined Youngstown, went on a nice playoff run there when they won the USHL championship. This kid here, he's got a little cockiness to him. It's fun to watch. He's got good size. Not a ton of bump and grind for that size, though. He's a skill guy. So on the power play, again, he loves to have the puck. He wants to make plays. He's a good skater. We see that's an accurate scouting report. Good skater, good quickness and balance. His center of gravity is really good. So it's hard to knock off pucks, but he's not a guy that goes and knocks other people off pucks.
Defenseman. That works. How about Nick Lardis? I'll move it on from the Chicago Blackhawks. Reader.
Well, we were talking in the break after the second round. Is Nick Lardis still available? Yes, he is still available. And I don't get this one. Here's a guy who scored 37 goals in 69 games, 65 points. He's 5'11". He can score goals. He's got a tremendous shot. He can score from distance. He can score from anywhere on the ice. He's got a great motor. He's got a tremendous skill, tremendous skating ability. And maybe it's the fact that, we talked about it, Sam. It's the fact that he's scoring more from the outside than he does necessarily from in the tougher areas. And for Nick Lardis, a player who's moved around a little bit in his OHL career, but he's interesting trades. But he's playing with Hamilton. He still scores goals, and maybe getting to the inside is something that he's going to have to work on as he moves along.
And Jay McKee and the coaching staff there in Hamilton will make sure that happens. But the interesting part is he got a new life after being traded from Peterborough to Hamilton, where he scored 25 goals in his last 33 games. And that skating ability and scoring ability, those are two highly coveted assets. He is amongst the top of class in both of those areas. But again, it's about playing with some of that grit, determination, getting to inside ice, something he'll continue to work on here. And no doubt Nick will be motivated by going here in round 3. But he's got a great group to work with in the Chicago Blackhawks.
Jason, what is that? So at number 93, Jiri Felcman to the Chicago Blackhawks. You talk about a team maybe the opposite of the Boston Bruins, right? That window closing for Boston. Chicago, we can only go up from here. And with the pick of Connor Bedard, number 1 overall. But you guys liked what they did on day number 1, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Chicago is really starting to take flight here. And that's exactly what Kyle Davidson wanted to do. Listen, if you get the general manager's job, you get it for good reason. Obviously, upper management has the faith in this guy. But aside from that, when you take over a team, if you're given the license to strip it down and to build it exactly the way you want, everything falls upon you. So when you look at day 1 now, Bedard, Moore, 2 centers, working down the middle of the ice. Moore obviously is a speedster. Connor Bedard, what haven't we heard about him? Then you start with Gajan here early in round 2 to address the goaltending of the future. He's go onto the wing and look for a little scoring, and Misiak and Lardis, and then back to center ice. So lots of picks left here still for the Chicago Blackhawks.
Lots of speed in those picks too, guys. Like Bedard, obviously we know the skill, but boy, did they add some speed. More Lardis. I mean, these are elusive forwards.
Who's going to get him the puck? Coming out of their own zone. Didn't see any defensemen on there. Like that. Do you think maybe Chicago, that's what we're looking at from moving forward here? But at this point, you're looking for that depth defenseman.
Go ahead, Chicago.
From Sudbury, Alex Pharand.
Chicago selects Alex Pharand from Sudbury of the Ontario Hockey League. Next order of selection.
In the middle of the draft.
How about Reader at number 99, the Hawks, Alex Pharand, center from Sudbury.
Very interesting story with Pharand. He's 6'3", a right shot center. He's had 2 years in the OHL, and he's been traded twice, and both have been huge trades. Once he was drafted by Hamilton at 14th overall, but he was traded to Peterborough for Mason McTavish. Hamilton goes on to win the 2022 OHL championship. Then he's in Peterborough. He gets traded to his hometown Sudbury. Hopefully Sudbury doesn't trade the hometown kid. And that trade is for Chase Stillman, and guess who wins the OHL championship in Peterborough? Pete's win the OHL championship. So Alex has been in 2 big trades. But he's a big guy. He had 18 goals, 67 games. Big, physical guy. Skates decently enough. But again, he's a project at that size at this age.
Oh, I like this one. This one's easy. Marcel for the Chicago Blackhawks here at 131.
Go ahead, Chicago.
From Örebro, Sweden, Milton Oscarson.
Chicago selects Milton Oscarson from Örebro, Sweden.